Is it a hoax? Which one is more affordable? Red states or blue states? Take a listen.
In a blue state, affordability is worse than a blue state.
We can debate that, but
No, there's no debate. The number 50 basis points higher inflation, the 10 highest inflation rates are in blue cities, but
just so you know, because I went to look at this, this is the Joint Economic Committee, since 2021. The highest inflation of the past 4 years has been in red states, especially Florida.
I'm talking about current.
Not over the past 4 years.
Right. Today.
Okay. I would say 4 years would be a reasonable trend line to look at.
New York, Illinois, California, Massachusetts are depopulating.
And they're going to places in Florida, like Florida, where interest rates I'm saying inflation's up 22% over the last 4 years.
Well, inflation is up 25% nationally, so it's lower.
I believe in New York it was 19%.
Sorry?
I believe in New York it was 19%.
I don't think that's right.
Treasury Secretary Bessent later went on Fox News and called this guy trash and saying whatever he was saying was BS. But what I do know, in Texas, which is a red state, everything is all good. Take a listen to CNN.
We looked into what Andrew Ross Sorkin was talking about, and it's actually a report from a Republican committee that showed that, actually, the largest inflation increases have been mostly in red states, tied for the 10th largest inflation increases. Look at those red states over there. So Scott Bessent was wrong, and if he was right, the Treasury Department's not jumping the
he was struggling. And look, here's what we do know, and this is what's really important. Inflation was running at about 2% when Trump came in. It's now running at about 3%. All of the major things that would be fueling it. Healthcare increases going to go up next year. That's going to be a big deal. Tariffs still funneling through the system. We're beginning to see more increases. You're also seeing small businesses going under because they can't afford the tariff hikes. That actually disproportionately affects red states, by the way. Also, some of the things that, I have been for, like reindustrialization, bringing in more foreign investment into the U.S. in critical industries. Good thing longer term, inflationary short term, particularly when you don't see productivity increases. Building out AI. There's just a lot in this economy right now that is inflationary and isn't going to go away in the coming year.
We all know Donald Trump inherited Biden's inflationary economy. He's only been in there 10 months. We won't really know the effect of Donald Trump's policies until the big beautiful bill kicks in 2026.
I think there was a little bit of miscommunication there. Because Andrew was talking about 4 years and the Treasury Secretary was talking about 1 year. He's like, let's see where we were over the past 1 year.
I guess what I'm saying is that they are not providing, he made that claim. We reached out to Treasury. They didn't provide any evidence to back up even what Bessent was saying.
Also, a number, when you say now, that's meaningless. I mean, you have to look at a trend line. That's the only thing that actually means anything. And P.S., all the things, as I just laid out, that actually cause inflation are set to be going up in the coming year. I don't think there's any doubt we're going into a more inflationary.
Actually, she was incorrect. Inflation unexpectedly slowed to 2.7% in November. Now let's hear what Trump-hating, bitter Anna Navarro from The View have to say.
Florida. I live in one of those states that got named in this, and I see a huge divide right now. It is true that a lot of very wealthy people from places like New York and California have moved to Florida. Those wealthy people are in a bubble where they are not affected by these things because the stock market is doing very well. But the people who shop at Costco, which is still Trump, the people who are on the on the ACA and are seeing their premiums go up 300%, those people are facing terrible affordability crisis in Florida because all of these rich people have moved down because we have no state income tax. Now, regular Floridians can't afford housing. They can't afford their insurance on their houses.
Yeah.
It is, so yes, they are hurting people. So I don't think Trump hears from those people because he's surrounded by very wealthy people in Mar-a-Lago. The people he invites to the White House, the people he hears from are doing great. He gave them a tax break and the stock market is flourishing.
What miserable, bitter Trump hater from The View Anna Navarre doesn't get is, why are people flooding to Florida and Texas and other red states? Because the blue states are being run in the ground. California, New York. And for middle class and lower class Americans, the only way that they can ever build their wealth is in the 401ks in the stock market. Whether they invest or not, that's another thing. But that's the only way that they can truly build wealth.
Why strategy to be so defiant about an issue that is everybody knows is real for Americans? Not just the numbers, but just voters are saying overwhelmingly that they don't feel like their economic conditions are improving. They think things are getting more expensive, and things are getting more expensive. So why make it A, a partisan thing, and B, not just address that?
No one in the White House is ignoring the fact that people are still struggling. No one in the White House is doing that. What they are saying is that they inherited an economy that was going down the toilet. For 4 years, the American people had to suffer under President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. 4 years of that inflation that chart was talking about in individual states. This is precisely why they voted for President Trump to return to the White House. And he was elected to, one, stop the bleeding.
Have made them worse off, because that's what they're also saying.
You talk to someone that goes to the gas station in South Carolina, where I filled up for $2.39.
But you
$2.39 in South Carolina.
Every time somebody on the Republican side has anything to say, Abby Phillips cuts him off. Damn, let the man talk. And he's telling the truth. Because in Texas, I filled up for $2.11.
South Carolina is at the top of the inflation rate.
Gas is not the only measure that people use.
Yeah, but the people
gas
that are
right now
on this set
is hovering about where it was a year
like my mom
ago.
growing up,
Hold on a second.
would
Gas
rather
right
see
now,
a 2 in front
sure,
instead of 3 or 4, as it was
Hold on, Harrison,
under President Biden.
Sure. We're not arguing about
Let's
gas
not
prices.
because these are real problems.
We're not
These are
arguing
kids-
Damn, Abby, shut the hell up and let the man speak. Damn.
We're not arguing about gas prices, but when gas prices
you're
are
ignoring
low,
that fact.
they're about where they were a year ago. But then the cost of powering your home, energy costs, have been skyrocketing for a lot of different reasons. This is not to blame Trump. AI is part of it. There are other factors, but the picture of people's economics, they don't think it is improving, and gas prices is not enough. It used to be 20, 30 years ago. It is not enough anymore to make people feel like they are better off.
Americans don't care if Trump invests, think that the numbers look good. Because when they go to the grocery store, those numbers don't.
And you know that well, because that's exactly why Joe Biden lost the election. Trump is making
2024 that he
the
really
same
ignored this
mistake.
stuff. So it's so convenient for you to come out now and say that prices are too high.
Well, right now,
you during the 2024 campaign.
Well, right now, Joe Biden put everything that he could in order to bring down
Inflation Reduction Act that did nothing to reduce inflation.
Let's look at what the only thing that Trump got done was the big, beautiful bill.
But you know what? No tax
and you know what?
no tax on overtime,
What it's going to be is a boon for the billionaires in this country, and the health insurance for Americans, most 25 Americans, is going to go up. Health insurance for 25 million Americans are going to go up by hundreds of
I want
dollars.
to point out one thing, which is that
South Carolina when they had no taxes on
the
tips.
presidents have to carry the weight of what's happening in the economy. They're not always the cause of it. Biden was frankly not the cause of inflation in this country. There's a lot of big structural changes, cyclical changes. I wouldn't blame it all on Trump either. But one thing that I find very interesting, Trump made a lot of political hay with Biden not paying attention to inflation. But what has Trump done recently? He's gone after meatpacking monopolies. That is exactly what President Biden's FTC did. Lena Khan went after meatpackers. Trump is saying Trump RX will have public underwriting of cheaper drugs. Same thing. These are Democratic solutions. So I just find it very ironic.
The Trump accounts were a Democrat.
That's a Cory Booker. And Cory Booker.
That's right.
So you should be able to agree that this is a good thing.
Look, I don't think anybody's complaining about the Trump accounts. I think they were complaining about the tax cuts for the wealthy people.
But it's not, because that's such a
tax cuts for the wealthy people and health insurance.
African Americans, working Americans are going to be the main beneficiaries of one big beautiful bill. That is a fact.
No,
the same thing you guys try to do when the president passed his first tax bill.
Hold on, that may be the case. However, voters don't think that in this moment they are feeling the benefits.
And I'm not going to look voters in the eyes. I'm not going to look my family in the eyes and say your problems are not real.
And in fact, they are saying that Trump's policies have hurt them. They're saying that because they're going to the grocery store and buying a bag of coffee, and it's costing them more. The
American people are fatigued for 4 years of Democrat leadership in the White House. This president has been in office for 11 months. Give him some runway.
Ask the soybean farmers in South Dakota.
He is turning this struggle around, and the economy
Don't
is
yell at me
improving.
about that. You got to tell the American people. They're the ones saying.
We're watching tonight.
He's turning cargo ships around because he's, his tariff policies.
We have 12 days left of open enrollment. The place with the highest percentage of ACA membership enrollment in the country is South Florida, a red state that voted very strongly for Donald Trump. These people are not going to be able to afford health care because those premiums have gone up
Democrats
200.
and the Republicans are actually control the White House.
That went off the rails real quick, especially when Abby Phillips keeps cutting everybody off. But what do you guys think? Is it better living in a red state or a blue state? Drop a comment. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow God, not culture.